Welcome into Paul Catalina's Top 5. I thought we would dive today into the 5 events that sent the SEC into an emotional tailspin that involves them now questioning the very existence of a committee that did their bidding for so long. And look, it's a harrowing tale. So, I mean, if you're not emotionally, or Garrett, are you emotionally ready for this?
Man, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous.
Okay, it's a harrowing tale of, look, if you're SEC fans, this gets really graphic. It's bloody. There are 3 SEC losses mentioned in this.
That's unheard of.
3 SEC. I know that they like to ignore them, but let's go into it right now. Number 5. This is the first thing that happened. On September 28th of 2024, Kentucky defeated Ole Miss. And unbeknownst to the SEC, Kentucky would wind up with a losing record. Actually, we all kind of knew this was going to happen anyway, and this was bad for Ole Miss and eliminated from playoff contention essentially here. But Ole Miss would rally, picking up some nice wins along the way, but they'd also drop 2 more games. One to LSU on what could be called a middle-of-the-road year for the Tigers, and another one to Alabama, a team also very much in question here. Now, who's not mentioned in this segment is South Carolina, who took 3 losses, but unfortunately for them, nobody had them in contention anyway before the season started, so they were kind of the 3rd SEC team in the left-out bubble. Number 4, the very next week, number 1, Alabama, something they weren't again after this point, loses to Vanderbilt. Yes, that Vanderbilt. It happened. We all saw it. You can pretend that it didn't if you're an SEC fan. But Vandy did beat Alabama on October 5th. This was something that really sent the SEC world and the front office there into a tailspin, because how could this happen? But it's Alabama. Everything will be fine. People will forget about this, right? It will not come back to bite them. Well, Alabama would go on to lose a second time and then a third time. And the third one was to Oklahoma. And they got drilled 24-3. And you would say, well, that's not so bad. Oklahoma's historically great, right? Here they are coming into the SEC where they have a rightful place as one of the blue bloods of college football. And I would say most years in human history, you would be correct, sir. But this was the most milquetoast, boring, terrible offensive Oklahoma team ever. And they beat Alabama 24-3. An Oklahoma team that lost 6 times. Not good. Like Vandy, also lost 6 times. Although Vandy, feel good story. Still love you, Vandy. Number 2, one that happened outside.
Revive Superfood Smoothies. Pill, pour, blend, and enjoy. All within the comfort of my own home.
Revive Superfood Smoothies. Peel, blend, and enjoy. Fast and easy, and I'm out the door.
The SEC that affected them happened on title week when Clemson beat SMU in the ACC title game on a last-second field goal. That puts a 3-loss team in the playoff. Why? Not because the SEC had 3 3-loss teams with reasonably good resumes, except for, some of the games we've talked about. But Clemson is now the ACC champ. SMU has less losses. They've had a great season. Matter of fact, their only other loss was to BYU, a team that probably didn't get as much playoff consideration as it deserved. So how can you leave an 11-2 SMU out? And, now that Clemson has taken their automatic spot. Well, the committee dares to give them only 3 teams out of 12. And that has led to this in Destin. And since then, that they're trying to push all these ways to change the committee and the rules and all these things, when all that had to happen was Clemson had to miss a field goal. Alabama had to beat Vandy, not lose to Oklahoma by 21. Ole Miss could have just beaten Kentucky, and none of this would be changing. They would just be saying, let's add 4 teams and let's not do all this. But these are the 5 events that bring us here now to an SEC meetings where they're questioning every single thing about the playoffs, regardless of what it all means, and trying to eschew any kind of responsibility they have of themselves for not winning enough games. Something that they've done to everybody else the entire time that they've existed. Yes, I am picking on the SEC. I am happy to pick on the Big Ten as soon as Tony Petitti opens his mouth, which he doesn't do, which has made poor Greg Sankey out to be the bad guy. And I do think that that's not fair to Greg Sankey, that he's out there taking bullets and Tony Petitti's behind here pulling strings and maybe putting him in this position a little bit. But these are the events that have led us here for the SEC. Those 5 things happened. And this is why they're all mad. Think about that. This thing was decided on the field, but they want you to give them mulligans for their regular season. No wonder they don't want to play 9 games. It's one more thing for them to complain about not getting mulligans for. That's going to do it for the top 5. Smokey, read some polls.